Good morning. Today we are going to study chapter number 17, and this is the part second of this chapter. The name of the chapter is Stars and Solar System. There are some topics that we have already discussed in this chapter in our previous part. So still there are some topics that are remaining, that today we are going to start the remaining topics. And today we are going to know about the asteroids, about the comets, and about the different types of constellations. So about the stars, that I have already told you, but again I am going to remind all the points, means what are the characteristics of the stars. So let's start with the first topic of this chapter, that is, this is the journey around in between stars. So firstly we'll know that what is stars, as we have previously discussed about the star, but again I am going to remind you all the points one by one. So listen to me carefully, that what is a star and what are the characteristics of the star. As we know that stars are the celestial objects like sun. They are extremely hot and have the light of their own. Stars emit heat and light continuously. It is consists mostly of hydrogen gas. The heat and light of the star is produced by the nuclear fusion reaction that is taking place inside them all the time. So in these fusion reactions, the hydrogen that is present in the stars gets converted into helium with the release of tremendous amount of heat and light. So the stars are very large objects having the shape of the ball. They are much bigger than our Earth. Stars appears to be small because they are very far away from us. So this is about the star that we have previously discussed in the previous part of this chapter, but again I have reminded all the points to you again. Next is about the asteroids. Now we are going to know about that what are asteroids and where it is found. So let's know about that what are asteroids. So you have seen that there is a wide range, or we can say there is a wide space or gap in between the orbits of the planets. The planets mainly Mars and Jupiter. So the large number of small objects that is mainly made up of rocks revolve around the sun in a wide space between the orbits of the planets like Mars and Jupiter in the solar system. These are commonly known as asteroids, and these are commonly called asteroids. Thus, asteroids are the, how can you define it? These are the small celestial objects which revolve around the sun between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. And these asteroids are smaller than planets. So it is mainly found between the orbits of the Mars and Jupiter, and they are mainly smaller than the planets. So this is about the asteroids. Next is about the comets. Now we are going to know about that what is comets. Comets are the very small celestial objects. They are very small and they are mainly made up of gas, dust, which revolve around the sun in highly elliptical orbits and become visible only when they come close to the sun. So as comets approaches the sun, it develops a long glowing tail and becomes visible to us. A comet becomes visible on coming close to the sun because the sun rays makes it gas glow, which then spreads to form a tail millions of kilometers long. Now the question arises in your mind that why it develops a long tail when it comes closer to the sun. So when it approaches the sun, it develops a long glowing tail, and that becomes visible to us because on coming to the sun rays makes its gas glow, which then spreads to form tail millions of kilometers long. So the head of a comet is small and appears as a bright ball of light, but its tail is very long. So comet is a collection of gas, dust, which appears as a bright ball and points away from the sun. The tail of the comet grows longer as it comes nearer to the sun, but it disappears when the comet moves far away from the sun. Comets are smaller than asteroids. So this is about the comets that I have told you. Here there is one important point. You have heard the name of Halley's comet. Halley's comet uh, Halley's comet has a period of revolution of about 76 years. That is, Halley's comet is seen after 76 years. Halley's comet was last seen in 1986. The comets do not last forever. Each time a comet passes near the sun and it loses some of its gas ultimately, and only the dust particles are left in the space. So when these dust particles enter into the Earth's atmosphere, they burn due to the heat produced by the air resistance and produce the meteors or shooting stars. So this is about the comets. Next topic is about the meteoroids. Now we are going to know about that. What are meteoroids, what are meteors, and what are meteoroids. So meteoroids are the celestial objects which range in size is from teeny sand grains to big boulders of several hundred tons and revolve around the sun in their orbits. They are mainly left behind by distinction of asteroids and comets. Meteoroids are much smaller than asteroids and comets, and they are present throughout the solar system. They are the members of the solar system because they revolve around the sun. Due to some reason, meteoroid breaks away from its orbit around the sun and falls towards the earth, and it becomes meteor. So when it falls towards the earth, then it is known as meteor. Meteoroid is a small body in the solar system that would become the meteor if it enters the Earth's atmosphere. It is visible path of burning meteoroid that enters the Earth atmosphere, which is called. So when it enters the Earth atmosphere, then it is known as meteor. So this is about the meteor that I have told you. Meteors are the celestial bodies from the sky which we see as a bright streak of light that flashes for a moment across the sky. Meteors are commonly called shooting stars, and these meteors are commonly known as shooting stars. They are commonly known as shooting stars. So our next slide is about the constellation. Now we are going to know about the different types of constellation. So first we will know that what is constellation and what are the different types of constellation. So let's know about that. What is constellation? So constellation is mainly, we can define the constellation like this. These are the group of stars which appear to form the recognizable shape or pattern, and this pattern is commonly known as constellation. All the stars of constellation always remain together. Due to this, the shape of the constellation always remains same. So our ancestors named these star groups or constellation after the objects which they seem to resemble. About 88 constellations are known at present, and each constellation has given a name signifying an animal, a human being, or some other object which it appears to resemble. So the constellation that appears to move in the sky from east to west, because our earth from where we view them rotates on its axis from west to east. So there are some important constellation that is mainly visible in the night sky, clear night. Now here there is a diagram of the some constellation like Orion constellation, Ursa Major constellation, Cassiopeia constellation. So these are the different constellation. So about them I am going to tell you. First is about the Orion constellation. Now we are going to know about that. What is Orion constellation? Orion is the most well known and most impressive constellation in the night sky. It is also known as Hunter. It is commonly known as Hunter, and the Indian name of the Orion is Brick. There is a greater number of bright stars in the Orion than any other constellation. The Orion constellations consist of 7 or 8 bright stars. Orion constellation can be drawn either with 7 stars or with 8 stars. So the Orion constellation drawn with the 8 main stars that is shown to you in the given diagram. The arrangement of the stars in the Orion constellation is supposed to be resemble like a hunter. So this is about the Orion constellation. So our next constellation is Ursa Major constellation. So the Ursa Major constellation is one of the famous constellation which we can see in the night sky. Ursa Major constellation is also known as Great Bear, Big Dipper. The Indian name of the Ursa Major constellation is Saptarishi. Though the Ursa Major constellation is a group of many stars, but 7 of its stars are quite bright and can be seen easily. So the arrangement of the main stars in the Ursa Major constellation, that is shown to you here in this diagram. The Ursa Major constellations consist of 7 brightest stars which are arranged in the pattern of resembling somewhat a big bear. So this is about the Ursa Major constellation. So its name is Big Dipper because it resembles a dipper. Dipper means a bowl with a handle which has which was used to drink the water in olden days. The Ursa Major constellation is mainly visible during the summer season in the early part of the night, when we can locate the position of the pole star in the night sky with the help of the Ursa Major constellation. So this is about the Ursa Major constellation. The next is Cassiopeia. Now we are going to know about that Cassiopeia constellation. Cassiopeia is another prominent constellation in the northern sky. This constellation consists of 5 main stars, and these 5 main stars of the Cassiopeia constellations are arranged to form the shape of distorted W or M depending upon the position of the Cassiopeia constellation in the sky. So the Cassiopeia constellation looks like distorted letter W or M, and this constellation is thought to represent an ancient queen named Cassiopeia seated on a chair. This constellation is visible during the winter season in the early part of the night. So this is about the different types of the constellation. Now we are going to know about that moon. What are the characteristics of the moon and what are the different features of the moon? Now we are going to know about that. What is moon? Moon is a natural satellite of the earth, and it revolves around the earth on a definite regular path that is known as moon orbits. So the gravitational attraction of the earth that holds the moon in its orbit. Earth along with moon revolves around the sun. It also rotates on its axis, and it is about 1/4 the size of the earth in diameter, but its mass is only about 1/8 that of the earth. So the moon is the closest celestial object to the earth, and it appears to much bigger than stars because it is much more nearer to the earth than stars. Actually, all the planets and stars are much bigger than moon. Moon is a huge ball of rocks, and the surface is covered with hard and loose dirt. These are mainly the craters of different sizes on the surface of the moon. So the surface of the moon have large number of steep and high mountains, and its surface is covered with hard and loose dirt craters, mountains, and there is no air or atmosphere. There is no water, and there is no air or water on the moon. Therefore there is no life on the moon. And it is on the moon, the days are extremely hot and the nights are extremely cold. So we are able to see the moon because the sunlight that is falling on the moon gets reflected towards the earth. Moon shines with the sunlight that is reflected from it. So this is about the moon that I have told you. Next is, so this journey ends, and hope that you have enjoyed our journey. So this is about all the planets that I have told you, and I have told you about the moon and what are the features of the moon, what are the different types of constellation, about the comets and about the asteroids. So students, revise all the topics yourself, and whatever the questions that is related to the given topics in this chapter, try to do it yourself and try to learn the questions answer also. So do your work well and be happy. Thank you.